Hello and welcome to Lost Love Chronicles. We're thrilled to have you join our community of love, heartache, and life's twists and turns. Your subscription means the world to us, and we can't wait to bring you more captivating tales and stories. Marriage is a beautiful relationship that brings two souls closer and is beneficial for both of them. They grow together and live their lives with love, trust, joys, and rules. When my age came for marriage, I still had not found the love of my life with whom I could spend all my life. Hello, my name is James, and I am a yoga instructor and physiotherapist by profession. I live in Georgia with my parents. After my marriage failed badly due to the fact that my wife cheated on me, I found myself in a difficult place. I was born in Georgia, and my parents were both doctors, so they were already rich and earned a good living. However, they never proved to be good parents. They were busy with their jobs and couldn't concentrate on their kids in the way every parent is supposed to care for and look after their children. Anyhow, they earned well, so my sister and I lived a good life. We studied in one of the best schools in the town, but I never managed to get good grades. My sister always used to excel in school and was the favorite one. I couldn't satisfy my parents. They wanted their children to be highly successful and always demanded perfection from us, which I could not achieve, no matter how hard I tried. I've always been interested in sports and extracurricular activities since my school life, but my parents never supported me in any of my passions. I was on my own, always finding ways to accomplish my desires. I still remember the sports day at my school when my parents did not attend my sports ceremony, even though I came first all over the school. It was a significant moment for me, but they were not there to see my success. The day I entered high school, I found a new world that was quite different from my school life. I had opportunities in sports, and I seized them. I succeeded, and then came the day when I was selected for a scholarship program that gave me the chance to enter medical school. In medical school, I enrolled in a degree program in physiotherapy because it resonated with my interests. Despite not being a particularly smart kid in school, I put in a lot of hard work and managed to earn good grades throughout my academic journey. I aspired to graduate as a bright student and then specialize in my field. When it came time to select a field for my master's degree, I didn't have to think twice. My passion for sports led me to choose sports physiotherapy. Within a year, I graduated with a degree and was capable of setting up my own clinic. After some time, I thought about expanding my clinic. My background made me a good fit to be a fitness instructor, so I decided to open a gym and yoga center. I hired other fitness trainers and also began giving yoga classes. Throughout my life, I had never believed in love at first sight, but everything changed when a beautiful woman walked into my yoga class. She had enrolled in a 6-month yoga plan, and I was supposed to be her instructor. With each passing day, my feelings for her grew stronger. Every morning before her class at 10 a.m., I went through a difficult period of anticipation. She was a bit shy, but her poise and grace caught my attention. Her smile could light up a room, and her spirit was contagious. I was undeniably drawn to her, but I struggled to gather the courage to tell her that I had fallen in love with her and wanted to marry her. As time passed, it was now the last week of her gym membership. I couldn't bear the thought of letting her go, but my nerves held me back from confessing my feelings. The pain of saying goodbye was even more difficult to bear than the fear of confession. So, I gathered the courage to approach her and confess my feelings. After one of the yoga classes, I mustered up the nerve to ask her out for a coffee, and to my relief, she accepted. Our coffee meeting was a success, and we quickly became friends. We shared our stories, exchanged personal details, and learned about each other's likes and dislikes. Our conversations covered a wide range of topics, from our interests and tastes to our thoughts about life and future plans. With each passing discussion, it became increasingly clear that we were a perfect match. Over the course of a few months, our friendship blossomed into a romantic relationship, and I was incredibly grateful for her presence in my life. Eventually, we decided to get married, and it felt like a dream come true. I was overjoyed as we embarked on a beautiful journey together as a married couple. Our life was a happy one. We both worked during the day and enjoyed our evenings together. We went out for dinner dates and attended parties. We were far from a dull couple. We lived life to the fullest, cherishing every moment together. I wanted to celebrate every second of my life with her, and whenever I was with her, I couldn't help but feel incredibly thankful. As time passed, we welcomed a new addition to our family, a lovely daughter named Emma. We lived in a cozy, well-decorated home, adorned with the care and creativity of my wife, Sarah. It felt like I had achieved everything a man could hope for on this earth: a beautiful, loving wife, a wonderful daughter, a happy family, and a warm, comfortable home filled with all the things that make life fulfilling. However, my happiness was soon to be tested as I began noticing a change in Sarah's behavior. She became distant, quiet, and seemed lost in her thoughts. She avoided spending time with us and tried to distance herself. At first, I thought it was just a challenging phase, and I gave her some space, believing it would pass. Little did I know that a nightmare was on the horizon. As I reflect on those challenging times, I can vividly recall how Sarah's behavior underwent a profound shift, and it was deeply disheartening. Her once warm and nurturing presence had now grown cold and distant. It was as if she had been consumed by a new life, forsaking her roles as a wife and mother. She had become increasingly preoccupied with her appearance, often spending hours on makeup and her overall presentation. The hours she used to spend with Emma and me were now devoted to her reflection in the mirror. This growing self-absorption was a stark contrast to the woman I had once known and loved. What pained me even more was her social life, which had become a relentless pursuit of pleasure and excitement. Almost daily, she would leave the house in the evenings, heading off to parties and dinners, leaving Emma and me behind. When she did return home, it was either to retreat into her own world, engrossed in her phone, or to sleep. The days of engaging conversations and quality family time had become a distant memory. The ultimate blow to our family's well-being came when Emma's health deteriorated due to the neglect she suffered. I watched in anguish as my daughter's vitality waned, knowing that her mother's indifference was a significant factor. I pleaded with Sarah to reconsider her priorities, to curtail her social life and devote herself to Emma's care. But she remained stubborn and unyielding, suggesting that we hire a caretaker instead. It was a heart-wrenching decision for me, but I felt I had no choice. Emma's well-being was paramount, and I couldn't trust a third person to provide the love and attention she needed. I had to take a leave from my job, which, in turn, began to affect my work. Despite these sacrifices, Sarah remained detached and indifferent to the family she used to cherish. These were challenging times, and I grappled with a sense of helplessness and frustration as I tried to balance my responsibilities as a father and husband with the mounting pressures at home. As the days passed, I noticed that Sarah's once affectionate demeanor had transformed into a distant and chilly disposition. Her time at home had diminished considerably, and when she was present, it was as if she inhabited a different world, her focus solely on her phone. Conversations had become mere exchanges of words rather than meaningful interactions. My suspicions grew with each passing day, and I could no longer ignore the feeling that something was amiss. It was then that I made the fateful decision to follow her one day. After dropping Emma off at school, I discreetly shadowed her as she mentioned a girls' day out. I waited for a signal near her intended destination, and as she arrived, I called her to confirm her location. The sinking feeling in my gut could no longer be ignored, and I resolved to uncover the truth. My heart pounded in my chest as I watched her park the car in front of my best friend's house and proceed inside. I was utterly startled by this unexpected visit, my mind grappling to understand the reason behind it. Denial coursed through me as I tried desperately to cling to the hope that this was all just a misunderstanding, that there was a reasonable explanation for her presence. But then, through a window that opened into my best friend's lounge, I saw a sight that would forever sear itself into my memory. My wife, Sarah, and my best friend were locked in a passionate embrace. I was frozen in place, my emotions tumultuous and overwhelming. Anguish, anger, hurt, and the bitter taste of betrayal swirled within me. Every fiber of my being screamed out in pain, and I longed to scream, to confront them with my knowledge. Yet, I remained hidden, concealed from their view, unable to bear witness to the depths of their deception. My world had unraveled before my eyes, and I was left grappling with a maelstrom of emotions, each one more piercing than the last. At first, I was paralyzed by shock, not knowing how to react. But then, a dark, vengeful resolve began to brew within me. I couldn't simply walk away from this, I craved retribution. I wanted to make them suffer as much as they had hurt me. I was shattered, questioning how my wife and best friend could betray my trust in such a cruel way. They were the people I trusted the most, and they had shattered that trust. I returned home and started planning and concocting a scheme to ensure they regretted their actions. The pain ran deep, and I was determined to make them pay for the immense betrayal. My quest for revenge was driven by a fierce determination to hurt them both equally, but particularly Sarah, whom I had loved more than anyone and trusted blindly. I knew this endeavor would be a long and grueling process, but I was resolute in my determination. To unravel the extent of their betrayal, I decided to hire a private investigator who could help me gather videos, pictures, and call records. With a heavy heart, I searched for a trustworthy and discreet investigator, ultimately finding one who specialized in uncovering infidelity cases. In a quiet, dimly lit office, I explained my predicament and shared the details of the distressing situation. The investigator listened intently, offering a reassuring nod before explaining the process. The investigator initiated their work by tracing Sarah's movements, monitoring her activities, and discreetly following her during her outings. They employed various surveillance techniques, including hidden cameras and recording devices, to document her interactions with Sam. Each day, they diligently accumulated a trove of evidence, capturing the most intimate moments and conversations between my wife and my best friend. In parallel, the investigator delved into their call records and messages, leveraging their expertise to uncover the extent of their communication. They gathered digital proof that detailed the clandestine relationship, compiling call logs, text messages, and chat records that revealed the depth of their deceit. As the days turned into weeks, the investigator provided me with an ever-mounting pile of evidence that left no room for doubt. The videos and pictures painted a painful picture of their betrayal, while the call records and messages underscored the extent of their emotional involvement. Armed with this damning evidence, I knew that the time had come to confront Sarah and Sam, to expose their betrayal and exact the revenge that had consumed my thoughts. These materials, though bitter, were essential for my revenge. I stored them away, waiting for the right time to execute my plan. That time approached, and I had chosen a date for my revenge, a day that would forever mar Sarah's birthday. I wanted to make her birthday unforgettable, but in the most painful way. I orchestrated a grand gathering for the occasion, concealing my intentions from her. I played the part of the loving and attentive husband, letting her believe that I was planning a surprise that would make her day special. The day finally arrived, and Sarah was radiant in a black shimmer gown adorned with white pearls, her hair flowing freely. She wore long silver heels and looked stunningly beautiful. For a moment, I was captivated by her presence, but then the memory of betrayal and broken trust resurfaced, fueling my vengeful resolve. It was time, and the guests started to arrive. I had invited a vast array of people, including her family, friends, colleagues, our mutual friends, neighbors, coworkers, and, of course, Sam, my best friend, and her new lover. When all the guests were gathered, I knew it was finally time to set my plan in motion. For weeks, I had meticulously prepared for this moment. Goodie bags were neatly arranged, waiting to be distributed to the guests after the cake cutting. I had chosen a luscious chocolate fudge cake, Sarah's absolute favorite, as the centerpiece of the evening. Little did she know that this was going to be her last indulgence in this place. As the guests chatted and mingled, a subtle excitement filled the air. The anticipation was palpable. The moment had arrived, and I took a deep breath, stepping forward. I called Sarah to the stage, her face beaming with the expectation of a delightful birthday celebration. Soft, melodic birthday notes played in the background, creating an atmosphere of warmth and joy. With a knife in her hand and well wishes echoing in the room, Sarah cut the cake, her smile radiant. Little did she know that the sweetness of this moment was about to be overshadowed by something far more bitter. After the last crumb of cake had been enjoyed, I took the microphone, my heart pounding. It was time for the birthday note I had prepared, and it was also the moment to reveal the shocking truth. I looked at Sarah, who was still glowing from the cake cutting, and then informed the guests that they were about to receive the eagerly anticipated envelopes. The room fell silent, all eyes fixed on me, the suspense thick in the air. I counted down to 3, and in unison, the guests tore open the envelopes. The weight of the envelope's contents seemed to send shockwaves through the room, and I watched as the expressions on everyone's faces changed, but none more so than Sarah and her partner, Sam. The contents of those envelopes were something no one in the room, especially Sarah and Sam, could have ever anticipated. Inside were incriminating pictures of the two lovebirds, printouts of their love chats, and evidence of their infidelity. As if that wasn't enough to stun the room into silence, a projector and screen had been set up, and I played a revealing video that showed the extent of their infidelity for everyone to see. The room was filled with gasps, shocked whispers, and wide-eyed stares. Sarah's face turned crimson with embarrassment, and Sam couldn't bring himself to meet anyone's gaze. It was a moment of truth, and it was clear that the unexpected revelation had shaken the very foundations of their world, leaving the rest of us to grapple with the reality of the situation. The worst part was yet to come, hidden beneath all the incriminating documents and revelations that had already shaken the room. My heart was pounding in my chest as I watched the reactions of the guests, especially Sarah and Sam. This was the moment of truth, and it was time to lay it all out. Beneath the photos, chat printouts, and the video exposing the extent of their infidelity, there was another set of papers, divorce papers. These documents indicated my intention to part ways with Sarah, legally ending our relationship. The weight of this revelation seemed to hang heavily in the room, and a hushed tension filled the air. But there was more. A single sheet of paper proclaimed my intent to gain custody of our daughter, and it laid claim to the wealth and property that had been shared during our time together. I watched as Sarah's world came crashing down around her, her tears welling up and spilling down her cheeks. She turned to Sam, her eyes pleading for some form of support or understanding, but he had already made a swift exit, escaping the mounting embarrassment and scandal. Sarah was left standing there, alone, in the midst of the chaos and emotional turmoil. Her bitter sobs filled the room as she pleaded for forgiveness, her words almost drowned out by the tension and the weight of the situation. But my decision was final, and I knew I couldn't back off now. This had been a long time coming, a difficult choice I had agonized over for the sake of my own well-being and that of my daughter. With a heavy heart and a sense of finality, I bid her goodbye, showing her the way out of my house. It was a painful moment, one that none of us had ever imagined. A fire had been ignited within me, and I couldn't stop myself. I was consumed by the need for revenge. As time passed, however, I began to feel a growing sense of emptiness. The revenge I had sought didn't bring the closure I had anticipated. While I had undoubtedly returned her betrayal in kind, it didn't mend my broken heart or make me feel any better. I was left in a state of emotional turmoil and disturbance. I had lost the love of my life, my most precious possession. Despite the turmoil, I had to pull myself together. I had a daughter to look after, and I couldn't let my personal pain impact her well-being. In the aftermath of the tumultuous events, life became a daily struggle. My daughter, Emma, was the one bright light that kept me moving forward. Her innocence and smile provided a glimmer of hope in my darkest moments. In the aftermath of those tumultuous events, life became an intricate daily puzzle for me. The one constant, the one beacon of hope that kept me going, was my daughter, Emma. Her innocence and radiant smile were like the North Star guiding me through the darkest nights. Rebuilding my life was no easy task. The scars from that betrayal ran deep, and the wounds took time to heal. My focus shifted entirely to providing a loving and stable environment for Emma. I channeled my energy into my career as a physiotherapist and yoga instructor. My work was not only a source of livelihood but also a means of rekindling a sense of purpose within me. I came to realize that while revenge might have offered momentary satisfaction, it wasn't the path to true healing. It had been a bitter and painful journey, but it taught me invaluable lessons about forgiveness and resilience. I had to come to terms with the fact that I couldn't change the past, no matter how deeply it had wounded me. What I could control was how I shaped the future, not just for myself but especially for Emma. Over time, I found myself slowly, cautiously opening my heart to the possibility of love once more. I had learned to be more discerning, understanding that not everyone would betray trust in the same devastating manner as Sarah and Sam had. Love had a way of finding its path back into my life, bringing with it a new chapter and a glimmer of hope for brighter days ahead. Emma continued to flourish, evolving into a strong, confident young woman. Together, we forged a home filled with love, trust, and a profound sense of belonging. The scars from the past were still etched on my heart, serving as a reminder of the resilience we had discovered within ourselves. They were a testament to the strength we had drawn from each other. In the end, life had a remarkable way of restoring balance. The anguish of the past gradually yielded to the promise of new beginnings, a resurgence of love, and a deep-seated appreciation for the profound beauty of life's intricate and often unpredictable journey. Dear listener, if you have reached this far, please click on the subscribe button. It will be a great help.